So let's review. After concluding in the previous daf that a Jew must be mevar chametz, that is set aside to feed the king's army because he's responsible for it, our daf begins with the following shaila. Bayiminei mirava, behemis arnuna chayeves bebechayra or ein chayeves bebechayra. An animal that is subject to a tax, in which, as Rashi explains, hamelech noitel isur min habehema min hatvur, the king takes 10% of the animals or produce. Is it subject to the halacha of bechayra, giving the firstborn to a kohen? The Gemara elaborates. Matzim misalgle bezuze, where one can satisfy the tax obligation with money equivalent to the value of the animal, he is certainly obligated in bechayra, because the nachri is not considered to be a partner in the bechayra. He merely has a lien on the animal which belongs entirely to the Yisrael. Loi matzim misalgle bezuze, where one cannot satisfy the tax obligation with money, rather he must give the actual animals. This is the case of our shaila. Chayeves bebechayra, is it subject to the halacha of bechayra because even in this case it belongs entirely to the Yisrael, albeit with a lien, or ein chayeves bebechayra, it is not subject to the halacha of bechayra because it is yad nachri be'emtza. The king is considered to have a share in the bechayra and it therefore has no kedushas bechayra. In the first version, Rava answers, Petura, in this case he is indeed exempt, and as explained before, it depends. Matzim misalkli bezuzi, where he can pay money chayeves bebechayra because it is not yad nachri be'emtza. Loi matzim misalkli bezuzi, where he must give the actual animal ein chayeves bebechayra because it is yad nachri be'emtza. In the second version, Rava answers, behemis arnuna petura min bechayra. It is exempt from bechayra even in the case of matzim misalkli bezuzi, because as Rashi explains, until the tax is paid, it is considered as the king has a share in the animals, with an option that a share can be bought. Dough subject to the king's tax is always chayav and chala, even where leimatzim misalkli bezuzi, and as Rashi explains, because of Gzer D'Rabbanan. Midaraisa, one is pater from both chala and bechar, where it is yad nachri be'emtza, because the Torah says regarding bechar, kol bechar b'Yisrael, the firstborn of Yisrael, and regarding chala, arisei seichem your dough. However, since Isa lesle kala, people are not aware of when the tax was collected, they might think that it has already been collected as grain, and the dough is entirely his. Therefore, the Chacham obligated him to separate chala even before the tax was collected. Behema is like kala. In the case of animals, it's known whether the tax has been collected, and there is no need for the gzera. The Gemara goes on to discuss three cases where a non-Jew's chametz is in the Jew's home. First, nachri shenichnas l'chatzeri shel Yisrael u'b'tzeika b'yadoi ein zakul lavar. If the non-Jew walks into a Jew's house holding his chametz, there's no requirement to ask him to leave. Second, hifkidoi etzloi zakuk lavar. If it was left with the Jew for safekeeping, and as Rashi adds, kibbul achrayas, the Jew took responsibility for the chametz, he must destroy it. Third, yichid loy bayis ein zakul lavar. If the Jew designated a spot in his house for the non-Jew to put his chametz there, he does not have to destroy it. Even though we generally assume schiris leikanya, a person's rental of a location does not make it his, and that spot is not the rishus of the nachri, but rather of the Yisrael. However, we learn from lo yimatzeh that if the chametz is not matzu biyadcha, not found in the rishus of the Jew, he does not have to destroy it. Rashi holds that this is an exemption because of lo kiblu alav. In the case of yichud lo bayis, the Jew did not accept achrayas. Taisus holds that even if kibbul of achrayas, he's exempt because it's considered ilu kibbul of achrayas al chemtzei shel nachri bebeisa shel nachri, as if the Yisrael accept the responsibility for the nachri's chametz in the nachri's house. Amar Yehuda Marav, hamaitzi chametz bebeisa b'yamtiv koiv as a kli. If a person finds chametz in his house in yamtiv, when he cannot burn it, he should cover it with a kli so that he does not inadvertently eat it. Rashi explains, he's not over bebal yirah because he was mavatal before yamtiv. Similarly, Amar Yehuda Marav, chemtzei shel nachri oitzu lemechitza asar tfachim mishum heker. In the case where one may keep the non-Jew's chametz in his house, as in lo kibul of achrayas, he should put up a partition around it to remind him not to eat it. Rava adds in both cases, if the chametz belong to hektish, these extra measures are not necessary, because mivdal bedili minei, the person is used to avoiding the hektish all year round. Amar Yehuda Marav, hamefarish vayitz b'shayar, one who leaves town, koidim shloishim yoyim ein zak levar. If it's more than 30 days before Pesach, he does not have to destroy his chametz before leaving, because one is not obligated to think about Pesach so far in advance. Toich shloishim yoyim zak levar. If it's within 30 days of Pesach, he does have to destroy his chametz before leaving, because he is obligated to think about the upcoming Yom Tov of Pesach. There are two opinions about the circumstances of this halacha. Abaye holds that this distinction is only when daitoi lachzer. he plans on coming back on Pesach. But if Ein Daiti Lachzer, he does not plan on coming back, he does not have to destroy his chametz even when leaving within 30 days. Rava holds that this distinction is only when Ein Daiti Lachzer. He does not plan on coming back on Pesach. But if Daiti Lachzer, he plans on coming back, he has to destroy his chametz afilim Rosh Hashanah, even when leaving a very long time, a lot more than 30 days before Pesach. The Gemara explains the significance of Shleishim Yom. Shoylin b'dershim b'hilchas ha-Pesach koydem ha-Pesach Shleishim Yom. We must start learning Hilchas Pesach 30 days before Pesach. Shaharei Moshe omed b'Pesach Rishon u'mazar al-Pesach Sheni. Since Moshe taught the halachas of Pesach Sheni on Pesach Rishon, which are 30 days apart, 2 weeks. Shaharei Moshe omed b'Rosh ha-Chodesh u'mazar al-Pesach. Since Moshe taught the halachas of Karban Pesach on Rosh Chodesh Nisan. From the pasuk that serves as a source for Rabbi Shimon Gamliel's opinion, we also learn the Torah is not necessarily written in chronological order. Rav Papa adds, that holds true only b'trei inyani. Rashi says b'shtei parshas, which is understood as either 2 paragraphs or 2 topics. Al b'chad inyana, ma'idem muktim, u'ma'idem u'cher. But within one inyan, the Torah is written in order. Otherwise, we would never know when to view something as a klal prat, a general statement followed by a specific statement, or a prat klal, a specific statement followed by a general statement. We now come to the well-known sugya of habaydik tzarch sheyevatel. One who did bedikas chametz must also be mevatel, nullify the chametz. The Gemara explains. The reason cannot be mishum pirurin, because of crumbs that were probably missed in the bedika, because halei chashibi, the crumbs are insignificant, and are automatically considered nullified and ownerless. Amar Rava, Rashi explains, we're concerned that he might find an appetizing piece of chametz and delay a few moments in destroying it, which would be a violation of Bal Yirah Bal Yamatze. Once, however, he is mevatlet, there is no violation. He will not be able to be mevatlet the chametz when he finds it, because he might find it la'achar zman isuri, after chatzais. And once chametz becomes asur, we are no longer able to be mevatlet. Da'amar Rebbe Lazar, shnei dvarim einen b'shus shaladim. There are 2 things that one does not own, but the Torah holds him responsible as if it belonged to him. Ve'eluhein, they are first a pit one dug in the public domain. Although one cannot acquire parts of the Rishus Ram, he's held liable for resulting damages. Second, chametz after 6 hours of the day. Since chametz at that time becomes asur b'hana, one may not derive any benefit from it. It is ownerless, and it can no longer be mevatlet.